My name is Brian Nolan. I am the founder and CEO of MyBiometry. And our company is focused on monitoring asthma and COPD patients to prevent attacks. The way that we do this is with a breath test at home to identify risk of attack up to 20 days before a patient even has symptoms. And then proactively adjusting therapy based on that data can reduce the risk of attack by up to 50%. Asthma and COPD are massive problems. There's over 1 billion patients globally. About half of them will have at least one attack every single year. In the US alone, that drives 2.5 million ER visits and hospitalizations. More importantly, attacks cause permanent loss of lung function, and in COPD, a severe attack has a mortality rate that's actually worse than cancer. The standard of care today is patient monitoring. For patient monitoring is symptom tracking on paper. Physicians use symptom data to adjust therapy, and they do it in response to worsening symptoms, and they do it in response to attacks. So everything is done reactively in asthma and COPD. There's a fundamental problem with this approach in that symptoms change 2 to 3 days before a patient has an attack, but the medications that will prevent that attack from happening take up to 2 weeks to have a full therapeutic effect. So quite literally, by the time a patient feels their asthma, it's often too late. Airway inflammation, on the other hand, changes up to 20 days before a patient even has symptoms. And your risk of attack increases 287% every time your airway inflammation doubles. Airway inflammation is also the root cause of the problem. It's the cause of symptoms, it's the cause of attacks, and it's what's creating permanent loss of lung function. Fractional exhaled nitric oxide, or FeNO, is a clinically established biomarker of airway inflammation. It's part of the global and US respiratory guidelines. What we've created is a breakthrough FeNO sensor technology that enables low-cost monitoring at home. It's a single-use disposable test strip. It pairs with a simple connected device and app, and we're able to deliver lab-quality performance both at the point of care and at home. What's really valuable, though, is tracking the patients at home, and it's the longitudinal data, because that's the data that identifies your risk of having an attack. This is an example in COPD. It's from a 450-person randomized trial. You can see on the left, FeNO variability over 15 parts per billion predicted exacerbation. The graph on the right, you can see that as the variability increases from 0 to 100, your probability of remaining exacerbation-free basically drops to 0. The data also predicts response to inhaled and biological therapies. This is an example from Dupixent's phase 3 study. You can see in the forest plots, FeNO levels above 25 parts per billion predicted response to therapy and 56 to 69% reduction in severe exacerbations. More importantly, though, a FeNO level below 25 parts per billion, the therapy wasn't effective. So for physicians, this is helpful in guiding which therapies to use, and for the insurance company, making sure that the right patient goes on the right therapy, which, again, these are incredibly expensive biologics. Daily FeNO data really empowers patients and clinicians with better data. Tailoring therapy based on this reduces the risk by up to 50%. You can see the graph on the left is a continuous 190 days of FeNO monitoring. The patient's got uncontrolled inflammation. A simple adjustment to therapy, so in this case, increasing the patient's dose, produces the graph on the right where you can see their inflammation is well under control. We're more than just a diagnostic technology. We're building a digital ecosystem around the FeNO data. Essentially, we're creating a structure so that we can identify when the patients are at risk, we can identify what is causing that risk, and then what patients can actually do to reduce that risk. So an entire digital ecosystem built around the diagnostic data. Our competitive advantage really is better data resulting in better care, and this stems from our ability to monitor patients at home. That enables real-time tracking risk of attack, proactive adjustment of therapy, and most importantly, we can do all of this for a cost that fits within the existing reimbursement structure. We're going to be the first mover in a $26 billion home market. Reimbursement is already in place via CPT code. There are no restrictions on location or frequency of testing. The reimbursement is about $20 per test, and we estimate about $2,000 per patient per year. We're targeting the 12.6 million moderate to severe patients, and that's in the US alone, and again, it's about a $26 billion opportunity. This is an example of how we go to market. This is a pediatric Medicaid pilot with CareSource, which is an insurance company that invested in MyBiometry in 2024. It's a 300-person pilot. We've partnered with a local large provider group to do the monitoring and care delivery. It's a CPT revenue share model, and our portion of that for this pilot is about $625,000. CareSource alone has about 50,000 moderate to severe patients, which means within a single customer base, our market opportunity is about $100 million. So plenty of opportunity for growth even within a single customer. What's really unique about what we're doing is we can align the incentives across all the stakeholders. And this really begins with optimization of therapy, both inhaled and biological therapies. That's driving fewer ER visits and hospitalizations. It's delivering better quality of life and better outcomes. And then for providers, it's actually a new revenue stream. From a regulatory perspective, we're pursuing novel claims. The existing claims at the point of care are focused on monitoring response to therapy. We will extend those claims into the home and then create new claims around monitoring to reduce the risk of exacerbations both at the point of care and the home. In 2025, we will complete our asthma pivotal study and do our FDA submission. We'll kick off the pilot with CareSource, which begins generating data and additional evidence. We'll use that data with some novel algorithms to extend our claims, and then we'll do a label expansion into COPD. We really have an amazing team that's developed medical technologies for startups and Fortune 500 companies. These technologies have gone on to revolutionize cancer diagnostics and diabetes monitoring. They've been acquired by companies like Roche and Abbott Labs for over $4.6 billion. Our clinical advisors are global thought leaders. The work that they've done with nitric oxide and other biomarkers has led to paradigm shifts in respiratory management and changes in the global respiratory guidelines. We're announcing a new financing. It's a $20 million financing. We're using this to support early commercialization, manufacturing scale-up, and then the label expansion into COPD. We've raised about $12 million to date. The last financing was led by Dexcom with participation from CareSource. Our goal is to create the next billion-dollar medical device. We've got a massive market opportunity in front of us with 1 billion patients. The technology that we're developing enables a paradigm shift in both monitoring and management of these diseases. The foundation for the market is already in place, so coding coverage and payment is already in place. There's established clinical guidelines around the biomarker. We've got a relatively straightforward regulatory path, and we've got strategic investors already in place. If you're interested in learning more, please reach out to me. Thank you.